Hey INFPs, this is Amanda, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about the idea of catching a story, right? And this is in opposition to crafting a story, but I'll get into that just in a couple of minutes. So INFPs are intuitive writers, and what that means is that ideas and stories tend to arrive at us, right? Like we don't go consciously seeking them. I mean, of course we can and we do, but like in many instances, our ideas are kind of just coming at us, right? They sort of appear in some way in our imaginations. Like for myself, for example, when I'm getting like a story idea, I get images, right? So I can see like a character, I can see a setting, I kind of have an intuitive feel of where the action is going to start going, but I receive that as an image. And it's not something that I grasp at. It's not something that I go and seek out. It's something that comes to me and I notice it. Even when I'm using like a writing prompt or something like that, it's even though like I may be starting with something kind of concrete, it's still the same thing. It's like I'll sort of open up my mind or open up my energy field and something comes into it, right? So that's what INFPs tend to do. Things just sort of they arise for us and we notice them. And like I said, this is in opposition to this idea of consciously crafting a story. So like a lot of times when you're looking around for writing advice, it tends to come from this perspective where you are consciously coming up with pieces of a story and you're putting them together, you're fitting them together so that they create some kind of whole. But this is a process where you're conscious of what you're doing and you're trying to, you're trying to fit these things together almost as if you were building a house or building some kind of structure. But it's like you're very actively and very consciously putting these things together and you know why it is you're doing that. Okay, so for INFP, so the reason why I like to call it catching a story is because of this idea that it just kind of comes to us and we sort of hold out our hands, or maybe, who knows, maybe we have a big basket and we kind of just like hold that out and it lands in the basket, right? It pops up in front of us and we just catch it, right? We're not, so there's this idea of like the idea or the story coming at us. Yeah, right. We're not seeking it out. We're not sort of like foraging for it. It arises, we hold out our hands and we catch it. And this is a lot, like it's a much easier process for us than trying to do the like conscious craft thing, just because we're very intuitive, right? So, right. So like, and a lot of times INFPs can get stuck in this, right? Because you don't hear a whole lot, like I hear some about intuitive writing and how that works and how you might do it, but I don't hear it a whole lot. So INFPs can get kind of stuck, of course, thinking that they, quote unquote, should be consciously crafting their story. And really what we need to do is just catch that story. And catching a story in many ways is very simple, though it does take some practice. And also too, you gotta get over those shoulds. Like I think that's probably like number one is just allowing yourself to do it, just being open to that process. But anyway, the way you catch a story is twofold, right? Step number one, you are open to that story. And that could mean like opening up your energy field, opening up your mind. Like if you can imagine, say like when you're sitting with a really great, trusted, non-judgmental friend and you always feel comfortable telling them things, like personal things, think about sort of like what their stance is, or maybe you're this person, right? They're open to you. They're open to receiving what you have to say, your feelings, you know, anything you're going to tell them, and you can feel that openness. So stories can too, right? Stories can feel, they can feel how open you are. You know, and they want to come towards you and be received and not be judged, and you know, feel like there's space for it. And then the second part of this, after just opening yourself up, is to allow it in, right? So this is the part where the story begins to show itself to you, or reveal itself to you. And this part can really happen in kind of a number of different ways. Again, like I tend to get images. I'm just seeing, you know, I'm seeing the characters in their setting as they go about whatever it is they're going about. And I'm sort of just watching that. That's how the story speaks to me. And yeah, and you're just allowing it in. So you're really kind of sitting back, you're in a receptive posture, and the story speaks to you. And it's really as simple as that, though, like I said, it does require some practice. I just actually wrote about this topic in my For INFPs premium newsletter. So it was called For the INFP Writer, and I went through and you know, kind of talked in depth about this process of catching a story. So if you like long form, in-depth written content, check out my INFP's premium newsletter, because that's where I do that kind of writing. So I send it out every 2 weeks. The articles or essays, they're about like 1,000 words long, and it's really meant for people who do want, you know, who like written content and want to go deeper into it. So yeah, check that out. It's like a really reasonable monthly fee to sign up, to subscribe. And if you do an annual subscription, it's even a little bit cheaper. You end up getting like a couple months for free. But I think you'll really like that. And I cover a variety of topics. Writing and creativity are a couple of them. But I go into like anything that could be of interest to INFPs. So I'll have a link below this video for that. And just wanted to mention it, since I had that was my latest issue, was about catching stories. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next.